Hi everyone, my name is Mateus de Moraes, and today I'm going to talk about a topic that I call the representation of gay characters in the slasher movie genre. Well, we may see that the slasher movie is a genre that don't bring any gay characters or don't bring often. So, as we can take as an example, the Friday the 13th franchise, Sexta-feira 13, that we don't see any gay characters. We only see straight teenagers entering sexual intercourse and dying because of it, because, well, Jason don't like teenagers having sex. But today I'll bring two movies that talk about this kind of representation of gay characters in lead roles. Okay, so let's begin with this brief discussion. The first movie is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Well, most of you may know that Nightmare on Elm Street brings Freddy Krueger as the killer. Well, he kills his victims that live on Elm Street, that it was the street where he lived before he died. And here on the right side, we can see the poster of the second movie. That is the movie that I'm going to talk about. We see Jess, Lisa, and we'll talk about these two characters more briefly here in this video. Here we have Jess and Lisa. Jess, at first sight, is a normal teenager, and we can think of him as even a straight teenager because we are used to see gay characters, as I said before, in the slasher movies. So we think him as a straight character, but soon as the movie passes, we see that this is not the case, that he enters in some homoerotic themes, in many situations of homoerotic themes, thematics, okay? And on the other side, we have Lisa. Lisa, well, Jess has feelings for Lisa, and Lisa has feelings for Jess. But we'll see that Jess is still confused about his sexuality. We'll see that he don't know if he really loves Lisa, okay? So I'll talk about three scenes that show this kind of homoerotic themes that the movie brings to us. The first one is when Jess is being haunted by Freddy Krueger, starts being haunted by Freddy Krueger, and we know that Freddy Krueger is a killer that likes to attack his victims when they are sleeping. So there is a scene when Jess is sleeping, and he starts sleepwalking in the streets of the town. He don't knows where he's going or what he's doing, and he ends up in a gay bar. Of all the places, he ends in a gay bar. And there he finds Coach Schneider. Well, Coach Schneider is the coach from physical education from his high school. And when he sees Jess, knowing that Jess is a meaner teenager, well, he takes Jess to the school, which is strange because it is night, but Freddy Krueger likes these crazy situations. And he takes Jess to school to give him a punishment for being late in the streets and in an adult bar, in a gay bar. Okay? So in the situation when he's given the punishment to Jess, Coach Schneider starts to sleep in meanwhile, and then Freddy Krueger appears and starts attacking him. But he attacks him in not a normal situation, not a way that we are used to see in these horror movies. He starts killing Coach Schneider in a very sexualized way, with some sadomasochistic aspects. Okay, as we can see in the image below, that he's Freddy Krueger scratching Coach Schneider, and he kills Coach Schneider that way. But soon we discovered that who killed Coach Schneider wasn't Freddy Krueger for real, but it was Jess who killed him. And we know in this part of the movie that Jess is being possessed by Freddy Krueger, as we can see that Jess is wearing the gloves, the trademark gloves of Freddy Krueger, that Freddy Krueger uses. Okay, so he starts panicking because he knows that something strange is happening, really strange, because he just killed a man without knowing that, okay? And we can see that he killed him in a very sexualized way. And we can start to think about this kind of gay representation in the movie. And there's another scene, the third scene that I would like to talk about, and taking as examples the other two scenes that I talked earlier, of just going to a gay bar and he killing Coach Schneider in this kind of sexualized way. There's a third scene when he's finally kissing Lisa, and when he's kissing her neck, Lisa closes her eyes and just let it go. And when he is kissing her neck, a strange tongue appears from inside Jess's mouth, and he don't know what's happening, but he know that is Freddy Krueger manifesting in some way, and he just put the tongue inside his mouth again, and he stays quiet. And Lisa don't know what is happening. She gets confused. Don't know why he stopped the kissing, and just stays silent and go away. And in the scene, we can stop to think about it. We can think about that maybe the fact that this strange tongue came out of Jess's mouth was his sexuality saying that he's not in a comfortable situation because he was kissing a girl. Okay, so we can start thinking that he's not comfortable because Lisa is a girl and maybe he don't like girls, but because he is gay. Okay, so I'll show this scene right away. It's a really strange scene, so you can see for yourselves. Here's the scene where the tongue goes off his mouth, and soon he just put it inside again. And we can see that maybe he's confused about all of this because he was kissing a girl, and Freddy Krueger knows that Jess is a gay character. And Freddy Krueger, when he's chasing his victims, he brings their worst fears. And the worst fear of Jess is to be gay because he's confused about his own sexuality, okay? So at the end of the movie, when Jess finally defeats Freddy Krueger, we can see that he and Lisa stays together. They end together, okay? And we may think that at the end of the movie, we discover that Freddy Krueger was his homosexuality, and he had defeated his homosexuality, and he chose to be straight, which is very wrong because we don't choose who we are. So I think that the director of the movie, the writer of the movie, he tried to give this representation of gay characters, but he did it in a wrong way. Because at the end of the movie, Jess chooses to be straight. And you may be asking, but Mateus, Jess couldn't be a bisexual character. And I say to you that he wasn't a bisexual character. Many years later, the director of the movie said that Jess was really a gay character. And he tried to do some kind of representation about this topic that wasn't discussed in the 80s. Okay, so he gave this kind of representation, but at the end of the movie, seeing that the people may react badly about all of this characterization about the homosexuality of the lead character, he made Jess chose to be straight. So he did the right representation, but on the wrong way, because at the end of the movie, we see that he did it on the wrong way because Jess chose his sexuality. But we'll talk about a trilogy called the Few Street Trilogy that brings the representation of gay characters and do it in a very brilliant way. Okay, here in this movie, we have two characters called Dina and Sam. Dina and Sam are two girls, and they are a lesbian couple. Okay, but they broke up because Sam moves out to another city. The movie takes place in Shadyside and is a city nearby called Sunnyvale. And Sam moves from Shadyside to Sunnyvale. And he broke up saying that was her motive to break up the relationship. But it wasn't. The real motive, it was because Sam was a very confused teenager. She was very confused about his sexuality, and her mother doesn't approve the relationship. And so Dina don't know why that happened, and Dina became very confused and sad because of the breakup. But soon the two of them gets entangled in a situation of a horror movie. They are caught by the curse of Seraphir, that is the antagonist of the trilogy. And Sam falls victim of this curse, and Dina do whatever it takes to save Sam. And she shows that her love is true and that they need to stay together. Even at the end of the movie, when the mother of Sam seeing the two of her kissing, they show to her that their love is legit as any other love that exists, and any other romantic relationship. Their relationship is a legit one, because they have love for each other. And Sam finally sees that. So I talked about these two movies, A Nightmare on Elm Street, that does this kind of representation in a very wrong way, and The Fear Street that showed this representation in a very brilliant way. One in a very implicit and this on a very explicit way, because it's now in a time we are talking about this topic more openly, and a platform like Netflix showing this is really important for the people seeing this, because we need to have allies inside the community and outside the community. It's really important for the LGBTQIA plus community to have a representation in this type of media, in books, in movies, in TV series. And it's important that we go after the representation of gay characters, the representation of women, the representation of Black people. It's really important in our society for everyone to see and fight for these causes. And here we see some cute gifs of Dina and Sam. This one, I love this one. It's amazing scene of the end of the first movie. So I recommend that you watch these two movies with your own eyes and take your own conclusions. And after that, come talk to me. Really, I'm a big horror movie fan. That's because I made this project here, this brief project. But if you but it's important, if you love this kind of movie, come talk to me. That I'll talk with you about horror movies in general, about slasher movies that I really love, and we can talk more about this kind of representations in these two movies with more spoilers. Obviously, I try to bring the least number of spoilers I could, just to give a brief explanation of this thematic. Okay, so I'd like to thank this opportunity, and here are the bibliography of the images, né, as fontes das imagens that I brought from the internet. Okay, so I really hope you have liked it. It was really a fast explanation. So if you want to talk more about this, come talk to me and we'll talk more about this. And if you could watch the movies, please watch it. It's two great movies. A Nightmare on Elm Street, it's a great movie too. And A Nightmare on Elm Street is even greater. So I hope you have liked this presentation and I'm looking forward to the others. Thank you and goodbye.